أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. So we'll be continuing with our first lesson. This will be lesson 1b, a continuation of the Arabic language, the characteristics of nouns, forming our basic nominal sentences, and the adjectives and gender agreement. So we've already started this lesson and looked at a few concepts. We're just going to continue with the same lesson, inshallah. So we have the concept of definite and indefinite, and this applies to nouns. So a noun can be definite or ma'rifah or indefinite, nakira. And the way that we can change an indefinite noun into a definite noun is actually quite simple. So let's look at this example here. We have the word baytun. Now baytun is an indefinite noun. How do we know? Because first of all it has a tanween on the end, or in this case a dhammatain. And also there is no definite article or alif lam at the beginning, the lam ta'rif. So by seeing that, we know that this is a definite noun straight away. And it means a house. The reason why we call it indefinite is because it's not referring to any specific house. It could be any house. Now, in this case here, the same word has been made into ma'rifah or definite. Now, how do we know this is a definite noun? Because suddenly the alif lam or definite article is added. So you see that there's an alif lam added here. And as soon as an alif lam is added, we need to drop the tanween at the end. So in other words, the dhammatain becomes a single dhamma. You can never have the alif lam with a tanween on that same word. That is grammatically incorrect in the Arabic language. So al-baytu means it's no longer a house, it is the house, which is why it's called a definite noun, because it's referring now to a specific house. So to sum up, an indefinite word, an indefinite noun becomes definite by this process. First the tanween drops and alif lam is added to the beginning, and then that makes the word ma'rifah. So as I was mentioning, these are the technical terms. Definite nouns are called ma'rifah. It comes from arafa, meaning to know, or something known. Indefinite nouns are called nakira. So it's important to know this terminology, which I'll try to use more often now. So here we have some examples of some nouns. And straight away by looking at these words, we should be able to identify that these are all definite nouns. How do we know that? Because we have an alif lam at the front and not a tanween, just a singular harakah there. So these words are all ma'rifah, definite nouns. So in this case here we have al-baladu, means the land. If you want to say a land, we would just drop the alif lam and put the tanween back, so the reverse process. We'd say baladu. Baladun is a land. So this process is interchangeable. If we add the alif lam and drop the tanween, it becomes ma'rifah, the land. If we were to drop the alif lam and add the tanween back, it becomes nakira, indefinite, meaning a land. Here we have al-adabu, the punishment. Al-yawmu, the day. Yawmun would be a day. Ar-rasulu, the messenger. Al-laylu, the night. So for example, taking this example here, if you want to make this ma'rifah noun into nakira, we drop the alif lam and put the tanween back on. It'll become laylun, which means a night. Now whether this could have been laylan or laylin, what determines the actual harakah itself is a grammatical, so it depends on the word that comes before or the grammatical role of this word in the sentence. That can change. But the fact is, it will always be a tanween if it's going to be an indefinite noun. This will always just be that singular harakah, regardless of whether it's a dhamma or a fatha or a kasra. But which harakah it takes depends on the grammatical function of that word in the sentence. So these words should be memorized because they are words from the Qur'an. Now here's an exercise for you to try and complete. So after I explain the exercise, what you can do is pause the video, have a go at answering the questions, and then unpause the video, in which case I will put the answers up, and then you can compare your answers to the ones that I gave and see how you went. So in this exercise, we need to make the following nouns from indefinite nakira into definite ma'rifah. So a couple of things to keep in mind here. First of all, how do we know that all these words are nouns and not from the other two categories, the fi'l or verb category or the harf particle category? Well, first of all, we can see that they're carrying tanweens. So when we have tanweens on words, they can't be verbs and they can't be from the harf or particle category. So that's a big giveaway there. And obviously the meaning, if you know the meaning of these words, like kitabun means a book, baytun means a house, qalamun a pen. So we can see from the meanings that these are objects, these are things, so they are nouns. And how do we know that they were indefinite? Well, these are nakira. Well, first of all, they've got a tanween on the end and there is no alif lam. So that's the biggest giveaway to tell you that these are indefinite words. So when we say kitabun, we need to be specific and say a book, baytun a house, waladun a boy. So have a go at these exercises, turn these words into ma'rifah and definites, and then see how you went. So the answers to these questions here, this exercise here, we'll start with kitabun, meaning a book. So to make this nakira word into ma'rifah, first of all we add the alif lam, so al, and then kitab. Now it's no longer bun, we need to drop the tanween. Oops. Drop the tanween. So it becomes al-kitabu. Going from a book to meaning the book. What do? We added the alif lam and we dropped the tanween. This is now ma'rifah. Baytun, again add the alif lam. Drop the tanween. So it's now just al-baytu. And you should also be familiar with the sun and moon letters. So here we pronounce the lam al-baytu, al-kitabu, because kaf and ba are moon letters. Qalamun, add the alif lam. Al-qalamu, drop the tanween. Here we have sonaman. Now another thing we should know about the writing conventions in Arabic is when there's a tanween fatha, an alif is added to the end there. This alif is obviously not pronounced. And there are a couple of letters that are exempt from this, but in the majority of cases, an alif is added to the end there. So صنما, we would put the alif lam. Becomes al-صنما. Now obviously because there is no longer a tanween fatha, we don't need that alif on the end. It can just look like the normal meme. So again here we added the alif lam, we dropped the tanween, made it a singular fatha, and we still kept that fatha haraka. When we're turning this specific word, which is nakira, into ma'rifah, we have a tanween fatha, we keep the fatha. We don't say al-sanamu or al-sanami. We're just keeping it on the same haraka. So like I explained, the actual haraka itself, whether it's a dhamma, kasra or fatha, is something to do with the grammar. So it doesn't matter which one it takes. When we're turning from definite to indefinite or other way around, we keep the same haraka. The important thing is that the tanween has dropped, regardless of which tanween that was. So sonaman means a statue or an idol. Al-sonama means the statue or the idol. Next example, we have maktabun, which means a desk. How do we know it was a desk? An indefinite or nakira because of the tanween and no alif lam. So obviously to turn it into a ma'rifah or definite noun, we add the alif lam. Al-maktabu. Drop the tanween. Now it means the desk, referring to a specific desk. Masjidin. So again, look, we have a tanween, but it's a tanween kasra. Doesn't matter whether it was a tanween kasra, there was a grammatical reason for that. In the end, it's a tanween. That's the main thing we've got to focus on, to know that it's indefinite. Now in this case, we again add the alif lam. Oops. Al-masjidi. Add the alif lam, drop the tanween. Now it's important to note here that we cannot ever add a tanween when there's an alif lam on there. Or in this case, al-maktabu, we can never say al-maktabun. Or al-qalamun. This is grammatically incorrect. When you have the definite article alif lam there, we need to have the singular haraka. Now if we're referring specifically to an indefinite noun here, we can never have an alif lam with the tanween like this. So the reverse is also the case if we're referring to a indefinite noun specifically. There are cases when we have no alif lam and a singular haraka, but we'll get to that later. So rajulun means a man. To make this definite, ar-rajulu, we add the alif lam, we drop the tanween, and this is a sun letter, so we would actually put a shadda on the ra, ar-rajulu. If we were to say al-rajulu in tajweed terms, that would be incorrect pronunciation. And waladun means a boy. Al-waladu means the boy. Alif lam added, tanween dropped to become ma'rifah. So some basic sentences that we can form. This is a little formula that we should know. When a definite noun is followed by an indefinite adjective, that is a full sentence. So this formula, definite noun plus indefinite adjective equals full nominal sentence. So first of all, when we're talking about a noun here, this is from the ism category. Adjectives, the sifa, is also from the ism category. Now how would we know the difference? Because they're both from the same category, they're both going to look the same. So if we look at these examples here, One of them is a noun, so this here is a noun, an object, whereas this here is a sifa, an adjective. Both from the ism category, they're both going to look the same. We have tanweens, and they follow the same grammatical concepts and rules. The main way to know the difference is from the meaning. And as we start learning more words, we start to realize, for example, jadidun. Jadid means new. So it's a describing word. The word new is going to be used to describe an object. Rashidun means righteous. So when we have the word righteous, it's obviously going to be describing word. It's going to be describing a person or a thing or a concept. So from that, you know that it's an adjective or a sifa. Now, if we have a definite noun, like here, al-qalamu, followed by an indefinite adjective, this is a full sentence, full stop. So in other words, the listener who hears this is not waiting for more information. They've understood completely what you're trying to say. You don't need to add anything to it. So let's break down this sentence. Al-qalamu is definite because we have alif lam and no tanween. So it means the pen. Now remember, there's no word for is in Arabic. The is falls in between. Jadidun means new. The pen is, I'll put this in brackets because there's no specific word for it in Arabic. The pen is new. Okay. So we can't say here that the new pen. There's a different way of terming that in Arabic, which we'll get to later on. When we have a definite noun followed by an indefinite noun, we have a full sentence, so it means the pen is new. So this adjective has to be indefinite. Okay. Al-waladu. So al-waladu is definite, it's ma'rifah because of the alif lam and no tanween. Al-waladu means the boy. We have the is coming there in the middle. Rashidun means righteous. The boy is righteous, full stop. And the sifa, so the adjective which is describing the noun here, needs to be indefinite for it to be a full sentence. So an example here, al-baytu kabirun. Al-baytu means the house. Kabirun means big. Now, because it follows that sentence structure of having a definite or ma'rifah noun followed by an indefinite or nakira adjective or sifa, it becomes a full sentence. So we can translate this as the house is big. Full stop. So just to clarify, how do we know that this was nakira? Tanween, no alif lam. How do we know that this was ma'rifah? Alif lam and no tanween on the ends. How do we know that this was a sifa or an adjective? From the meaning. Kabir, we should know that it means big or large, and that's a describing word by default. So naturally it's going to be used as an adjective to describe a noun. So here's another word, saghirun. Saghir means small or little. So we should know that that's an adjective or a sifa. This here is analyzing this word is nakira or indefinite. So this word can be used to describe some definite nouns and make full sentences. Let's have a look at these examples here. We have ar-rasulu karimun, al-baytu kabirun, an-najmu ba'idun, al-ba'i'u aminun. So this sentence, these are full sentences and it has to follow that structure. The first word has to be a definite noun followed by an indefinite adjective to give you this full sentence. We can't swap that order. It needs to follow this structure. So there are times in Arabic where where certain words and phrases can move around for certain rhetorical effects. But in general, there are certain things in terms of order and word structure that cannot change. Otherwise, the word would be grammatically, it needs to be readjusted to make it correct in some cases. In other cases, it just wouldn't work. And we'll understand these as we master these concepts, and we'll be able to play around where we can for different effects, and we'll know where not to play around or when we can play around and readjust the sentence accordingly. It just becomes natural after we've mastered these grammatical concepts. So here, ar-rasulu means the messenger. And how do we know it was the messenger, not a messenger? Because it's definite ma'rifah, alif lam, no tanween. Kareemun means generous or noble. So certain adjectives, the sifa is going to sometimes have different shades of meaning. Like in this case, noble, generous, that they can both apply. It comes from this, it has the same root, the root letters, which we'll look at a bit later as well. Now, in terms of choosing which meaning to translate it to, it depends on the context. So here it seems to me that the messenger is noble would be more suitable. But obviously this is, up to the translator, and depending on the context of the whole sentence, the passage, the sentence itself, which is why we'll see different translations in the Qur'an and other Arabic translations, because one word, and like many languages, can have different shades of meaning. It just depends on how we put it into context. So the messenger is noble would probably be most suitable here. This example here, al-baytu means the house, kabirun means big or large. So I would say the house is big. An-najmu means the star. Ba'idun means far. Ba'id is a sifa. It means far. So the star is far. Al-ba'i'u means the trader or the seller. Trader as in this word here, not traitor. Trader or seller, kind of like merchant. There's another word for merchant as well. The salesperson, you can say al-ba'i'u aminun. Amin means trustworthy or reliable. So definite noun followed by indefinite adjective, we have a full sentence meaning the seller is trustworthy. Here are some more examples. Al-rajulu tawilun, the man is tall. Al-masjidu mali'un, the mosque is full. Al-qalamu maksurun, the pen is big. As-sanamu kabirun, the statue is big. So we can see here that we have a definite noun followed by an indefinite adjective. Here, ar-rajulu means the man. The is in the middle there. Tawilun is tall. So this is the sifa, the adjective that describes this here. The sifa is going to be describing this word here. Mali'un, which means full, is an adjective describing this word here. In this case, al-masjid, the mosque. So I get to be familiar with this sentence structure. When you see it like this, and obviously sentences are going to be more elaborate and larger and longer, with phrases added to it as we build on our knowledge. But in general, if you see a definite noun, that's ma'rifah followed by indefinite adjective, know that that's a full sentence. So now that we've understood that the definite noun followed by the indefinite adjective is a full sentence, we need to also understand the agreements that these two words need to have. So there are certain things that need to agree with each other in a sentence, and one of those important things is gender agreement. So for example, if we have here as-salatu, if we remember this word here is feminine. Mu'annath. So mu'annath word is feminine. How do we know that this was feminine? One of the telltale signs off the bat is a ta marbuta. Now the word as-salatu means the prayer, the salah. Now we're not looking at meaning here because salah, the prayer itself, is something gender neutral. It's not inherently male or female. So we shouldn't mix up male and female with masculine and feminine. Here it's purely grammatical, the way the word has been written with a ta marbuta. This tells you straight away that it needs to be treated grammatically as a feminine word. Now in this case, because it's a feminine mu'annath word, the adjective which is going to describe it needs to also match in gender. It needs to also have a ta marbuta in the end to make it feminine. Mubarakatun means holy or blessed. So it's important to understand that a word like blessed, an adjective or a sifa, comes in two forms. We can say mubarakun, or we can say just a second. Mubarakatun. So here mubarakun or mubarakatun. These are not the exact same word, but they mean the same thing. This means blessed. This also means blessed or holy. The only difference is one has a ta marbuta and the other one doesn't have it. So one is feminine, one is masculine. Which one you use in the sentence depends on the definite noun that you're trying to describe. Now in this case we have as-salatu, the subject of this sentence, the prayer. It's a feminine word. So the adjective that we choose to use from the two options is the feminine one because the genders need to match with each other. So it'll be incorrect to say as-salatu mubarakun, to use this masculine adjective. That will be grammatically incorrect. All right. Just like in the previous examples, we had masculine words in the beginning. So for example, we had in a previous example, ar-rasulu karimun. So again here we have a definite noun which is masculine. Why? Because we know that we can't see a ta marbuta here. So by default words are masculine. In that case, the adjective which is used to describe ar-rasulu needs to be the masculine form of the adjective. Because karimun can also be written as karimatun. That's perfectly fine as well. However, we wouldn't use karimatun unless the noun that we were describing was a feminine word. So it's important that we match the genders with each other. So here we have al-bintu. This word, we know that it's feminine. However, in this case, not by looking for a ta marbuta. In this case, it looks like a masculine word, the structure, but the inherent meaning of the word girl is female, which is why it's still treated as a feminine word grammatically. So this is a definite ma'rifah noun that is feminine. We're going to describe it with the word saghiratun, meaning small, so we need to use the feminine version of that sifa. Saghir or saghira means small, and the word small has two forms or two ways of being written. Saghirun or saghiratun. Both mean small. In this case, we've chosen to use the feminine version, so this one here, so that we can gender match with the noun that we're describing here. So as I was explaining before, the word mubarakun, which means holy or blessed, can be also written as mubarakatun, and same with saghirun, can also be written as saghiratun. So these are all adjectives. How do we know they're adjectives? Because of the meanings, that they're describing words by meaning. And they have, so all adjectives have a masculine and a feminine form. Now this refers to all adjectives because we need to be able to use any adjective for both a masculine and feminine word to describe. So if that's the case, then obviously we have to have by default a masculine and feminine form, because it's absolutely compulsory to gender match in the sentences. And it's very easy to turn a masculine adjective into a feminine version. All you do is add the ta al-marbut at the end. That's it. Okay, we have singular adjectives like this. We just add the ta al-marbut at the end and it's become feminine. Or if we want to make a feminine into masculine, we just drop the ta al-marbut. Simple as that. So here's an exercise for you to do. We have some definite or ma'rifah nouns here, and we want to choose a specific adjective or sifa to match. Now, naturally, in any language, any sifa or adjective that you use to describe something needs to match in meaning. So, for example, here we have ar-rajulu, which means the man. We need an adjective that's going to match it in meaning. Okay? So, for example, ladhidhun here means delicious. Now, I probably wouldn't say ar-rajulu ladhidhun, meaning the man is delicious, unless we mean it metaphorically or something. But in general, I wouldn't use this adjective over here. So there's obviously a context for each adjective in any language. So to go through meanings, we have mali'un, which means full. So when something is full. Maksurun, which means broken. Nadhifun means clean. Ladhidhun means delicious or tasty. Maftuhun means open. And mujtahid, well, this should be a tanween at the end. Mujtahidun means hardworking, you can say. And the definite nouns we have here, we have al-waladu, the boy, al-rajulu, the man, al-babu, the door, al-baytu, the house, al-ta'amu, the food, as-sanamu, the statue or the idol. So pause the video now, have a go with matching the adjectives into those sentences, and then unpause the video and you can match your answers with mine. So al-waladu, meaning the boy. We'll put the meanings here. Full, broken, clean, tasty, open, hardworking. So for al-waladu, I would probably say the boy, we can put clean here. And remember that I'm making sure that we have the definite noun and the adjective is indefinite to describe it, to make it a full sentence. Also, I'm matching genders as well. Now in this case here, all these words are masculine, which is why all these adjectives are also in the masculine form. Because keep in mind, I could have just added a ta marbuta to the end of any of these adjectives and it would have become the same meaning but a feminine form. Al-rajulu, the man. So I've already used clean. Al-rajulu, I can say probably here, hardworking. Mujtahidun. which means the man is hardworking. Yeah, the boy is clean. Number 3, al-babu, or door. I can say the door is I can say open. So okay. Right, we'll just try that again. So here I'm going to put maftuhun. So you just copy this word straight into there. And I would say the door is open. Definite noun followed by indefinite adjective. Let's try one more time. Like that. Al-baytu, the house. I can say probably, so obviously you might have swapped a couple of these and that's fine. Like for example, al-waladu mujtahidun, the boy is hardworking. You could have put that adjective there and that's perfectly fine. By meaning it makes perfect sense. And you could have put nadhifun over here to say ar-rajulu nadhifun, to say the man is clean. That's perfectly fine as well. But some of them you can't really put anywhere else. Al-baytu, so we'll put mali'un. Which means the house is full. And just pay attention to that sentence structure that we're using. Definite plus indefinite. At-ta'amu, pretty sure the best meaning there would be nadhifun. The food is tasty. As-sanamu maksurun. The statue is broken. Another exercise here. So we need to use an appropriate noun for these adjectives. So in this case here, we have the second word of that sentence given, which is the indefinite adjective. And we need to add a definite noun, a ma'rifah noun to the beginning to make it a full sentence. So that adjective can be describing an appropriate or relevant noun. Now, I haven't given you options here of which nouns to use. You need to kind of think of the meaning, first of all, of the adjective, the sifa, and think of a specific noun that it can describe. Put that noun, and then check for making sure the sentence structure and the gender agreement is there. So I'll tell you the meaning of these adjectives. Mubinun means clear. Maksurun means broken. So notice these are all indefinite because they're indefinite adjectives are how you describe a definite noun. Aminatun means trustworthy. Let's just put trusty. But notice here that it's the feminine version because that's the ta marbuta. Aminun would have been for the masculine. Aminatun is for the feminine. So just make sure that the definite noun you use here is gender matching. Jadidun means new. Da'ifun means weak. Kabiratun means big or large, and this is referring for a feminine word. Kabirun would have been the masculine, kabiratun is feminine. So any of these adjectives could have been masculine or adding the ta marbuta to make it feminine. So pause the video now and see how you go with putting an appropriate definite noun. So we'll put some relevant words. For mubinun, clear, what comes to mind is book. So if I'm going to say the book is clear, I would have to say al-kitabu. So just keep in mind, I've got to put the alif lam there. Make sure there's no tanween. So now I'm saying al-kitabu mubinun, which means the clear book. You could have had another word, as long as it's, appropriate in its meaning and it's definite or ma'rifah, like this word here. That's perfectly fine. Meksurun, broken. I can say the pen is broken. So I'd have to put al-qalamu. The pen, al-qalamu, meksurun, is broken. Aminatun. So this is usually this word trusty is used for as a human characteristic or a human attribute. So I'm going to look for a word here that's ma'rifah, definite. That's a human. But I've also got to keep in mind that it's female or feminine in nature. So I can say, for example, the girl is trustworthy. Then I would put al-bintu. Al-bintu aminatun. Now, even though this doesn't match with the ta marbuta for here, we know that al-bintu is a feminine word. If I wanted to put, for example, the woman is trustworthy, I can put al-mar'atu al-mar'atu aminatun. So these match in gender, both had ta marbuta, and the sentence structure is fine. Definite noun followed by indefinite adjective. Jadidun, so masculine adjective here. I can put, I could have put al-kitabu jadidun, so the book is new. But I've already used that example here. So I can put, for example, I could put the desk is new. Whoops. So why did I go with choosing the word the desk? Well, first of all, because it's a masculine word. Al-maktabu. There's no ta marbuta, so I know it's a masculine mudhakkar word, so it matches here. I wouldn't have been able to use the word, for example, bag. Bag is al-haqibatu. See how it ends with a ta marbuta. So if I had, for example, I want to say the bag is new. So al-haqibatu is a feminine word because it has a ta marbuta at the end. So if I want to say the bag is new, I won't be able to use jadidun. I would have to use the feminine version. In this case, jadi. All I do is add the ta marbuta. And now I'm saying the bag is new. Perfectly fine. So just make sure that you match the genders in the sentence. Da'ifun means weak. So I can say here it's a masculine adjective, or the masculine version. So I can say al-waladu. If I want to say, for example, the girl is weak, al-bintu, now I'd have to say ضعيفة. All I have to do is turn this word ضعيف into the feminine version, ضعيفة, and then now it's perfectly fine. Here, كبيرة is the feminine version of the صفة for big, كبير. So I wouldn't be able to use, for example, البيت كبيرة because there's no gender matching there. البيت is a masculine word. There's no تاء مربوطة in it. But if you remember the word dar, this doesn't have a تاء مربوطة, but it's grammatically treated as a feminine word. The reason being because that's just how it came down to us. So I can actually say الدار كبيرة. This is a feminine word, even though it doesn't look like it. It's treated feminine. So كبيرة matches. This also means the house. So the house is big or large. And I could use any definite feminine noun here and match it with كبيرة, as long as the meaning is appropriate and makes sense. So now let's look at the gender agreement in sentences with the ism ishara. Now remember, with the ism ishara we had هذا, which means this. The feminine version for this is هذه, which also means this. So when we using this to refer to a masculine thing, we'd use هذا. If we're referring to a feminine thing, we'd use هذه. On the other end, we also had ذلك, which means that, and is the masculine version. And we also had تلك, which means that. It's an ism. These are all ism ishara, and this is the feminine version. So here we have هذا قلم, which means this is a pen. وهذه أمة, and this is a community. So even though this is one sentence, you can break it up into two. هذا is by default a definite noun because it's referring to something specific. It's referring to something known. When you say this is something or that is something, obviously you're assuming the person knows what you're talking about. It's something specific and definite you're referring to. So treat هذا as if it was any other definite noun. قلم is an indefinite noun, so full sentence there. Definite noun plus indefinite noun was full sentence, if you remember that. هذا قلم, this is a pen. وهذه أمة. So ignore this vowel for now. هذه, which means this, أمة, a community. Because this is a feminine word, because of the تاء مربوطة, we need to use هذه, not هذا. ذلك كتاب, that is a book. وتلك ساعة, and that is a watch. ساعة can also refer to like the hour, the time. It's used in the Qur'an to refer to the time of the qiyamah, the end of time. But in this context, it seems to be better to refer to it as an object here, as a watch or a clock. And notice how the genders are matching here. So the ism ishara used with the indefinite noun must match in gender. I could also use adjectives here. So I could have said ذلك. And let's say I want to say that is generous. Someone's done something and I say that's generous. That's a generous act. ذلك كريم. So كريم is an indefinite adjective, a صفة. So it's matching the sentence structure, and it's also masculine because ذلك is also masculine. If I wanted to use تلك, I would have said تلك كريمة. I would have used the feminine version. So just be very careful and be very competent with matching the genders in the sentence. So هذه قرية. قرية means a village. It's feminine, so we need to use the feminine ism ishara. We can't say هذا قرية. This is grammatically incorrect. You'd have to adjust the sentence to make this into هذه. So here's some examples. الكتاب جديد. العذاب شديد. المسلم مكرم. الرسول لطيف. القرية جميلة. البنت رشيدة. So looking at meanings here, الكتاب جديد means the book. Is جديد means new. Full sentence because we've got definite noun or ma'rifah followed by nakira, indefinite noun, which makes it a full sentence, and this is a sifa, an adjective, and the genders are matching. Al-adabu shadidun, the punishment is shadidun. You can say severe, harsh, again different shades of meaning depending on the context. Al-muslimu, the Muslim is, so the is comes in between the two words. Mukramun, you can say noble or generous. Al-Rasulu, the messenger, is Latifun, we can say gentle. Again, Latif has its different shades of meaning as well. Al-Qaryatu, the village. And notice that Al-Qaryatu here is a feminine word because of Tarabuta. So whatever adjective or sifa we use needs to match in gender. Jamilatun is beautiful. Jamil or Jamila means beautiful. Obviously, we could have turned this into a masculine sifa by saying Jamilun. But because we're trying to match it to a definite noun that is feminine, that is mu'annath, we need to use the mu'annath version of the sifa. If it was a mudhakkar or masculine noun here, we'd use jamilun. And al-baytu, the house. Al-bintu. So this is the girl. Now this feminine, and like I explained earlier, not because of time of but because of the inherent meaning of the word. So we use a feminine mu'annath version of the sifa. The girl is rashidatun, is righteous. So another exercise here to do, correct the mistakes in the sentences below. So all of these sentences, and you wouldn't even have to really know the meaning of these, even though you probably should, because these are all words that we've already used and come across. But in all these cases, grammatically, there is a mistake. Something needs to be adjusted to make it correct. Now, in some of these cases, they are correct if they're used in a different way. So, for example, kitabun mubinun, as a phrase, so not a full sentence, this is actually correct. And we're going to come to this a bit later. But assume that we're trying to make full sentences here. So if these are all trying to be full sentences, then there is something grammatically wrong which you need to adjust. So pause the video, have a go, and then compare your answers with mine. Okay, so I'll start with ذَلِكَ الْقَلَمُ. Now, if assuming we're trying to make a full sentence here, this is incorrect. Because the sentence structure needs to be full sentence structure that we've looked at, or nominal sentences, is definite noun, ma'rifah noun, plus indefinite noun, nakira noun. That is what's going to give us a full nominal sentence. So here we have the definite noun, dhalika, because that is referring to something specific. So it's treated as ma'rifah, definite. But here, this is not indefinite. Al-qalamu is definite because we got alif lam and no tanween. So to adjust this, we would just have to say dhalika قلم. All we did was make the alif lam drop and added a tanween. So now this means that is a pen. Kitabun mubinun. Here we have the opposite case. The first word here is not definite, it's indefinite. Why? Because there's no alif lam and there's a tanween. So to adjust it, we just have to say al kitabu and we can keep this the same because there's obviously a sifa that's describing it. Okay. Well, we just have to keep that there. Mubinun. Al-kitabu mubinun, and it would be correct. Here we have هذا الرجل. Well, there's a couple of mistakes here. So first of all, the second word needs to be indefinite. So we can keep هذا there. But first of all, we've got to make this indefinite. So we drop the alif lam. And we can't have a tanween and alif lam together anyway. So rajulun. This is a man. هذا رجل. الولد الرشيد. So again here we want to make this second word indefinite. So take off the alif lam and the tanween and add the take off the alif lam and shadda and add the tanween. So al-waladu rashidun. The boy is righteous. Al-baytu, that's fine. So referring to the house. What are we going to describe about the house? There's a sifa, ba'id. Now ba'id means far. Let's find that in terms of this being a indefinite noun, because it's got no alif lam and the tanween, but however, we need this to be matching with the haraka. So not ba'idin, ba'idun. Now I did mention that the haraka of the tanween didn't matter in making the word indefinite. So ba'idin is indefinite, is nakira, and so is ba'idun. And ba'idan would also be nakira or indefinite as well. But however, we do have to make sure that the harakas match as well. So al-baytu ba'idun. That's the mistake there of the haraka not matching. And Qur'anun karimatun. So a couple of mistakes here. First of all, let's make the first word into definite, into ma'rifah. Al-Qur'anun, Al-Qur'anu. So you can't say Al-Qur'anun because the alif lam cannot be with a tanween. And this is indefinite, but it's a masculine word. It's a feminine word. Mu'annath, we want to make it masculine. So what we do, we drop this ta marbuta. Al-Qur'anu karimu. Al-Qur'anu karimun. So this is now a full sentence. The genders match. Got definite followed by indefinite. So to sum up, we have some terminology to go through. Types of noun. The ism is classified into 3 categories. Jamid, ones which are not derived from any words, like rajulun, bintun. So we're going to look quite later on, at how certain words are derived from their root letters. Some words, or most words, are derived from the roots. However, some words aren't derived from a root. So for example, kitabun. We'll go into this in a lot more detail later, obviously, and this is a very important part of Arabic. It's when the real cream starts and the enjoyable stuff. Kitabun, meaning a book, comes from 3 root letters, ka, ta, and ba. So when these three letters are rearranged in certain ways, we can get kitabun, meaning a book. We can get mektab, meaning a desk. We can get katib, meaning a writer. So in the end, those words, so the word kataba has something to do with writing or a book. So a book has pages which has writing on it. So it all comes along that same sort of root meaning. Depending on how we arrange those letters grammatically, we get different shades of meaning. So book, which is something written on, a desk, which is something you put books on to write on. So it all comes along that same library. They all come from that same root meaning. So kitabun has root letters that we can derive from it. However, some words like rajulun, so rajulun, ra, jim, and lam is not the three root letters for this word. So some words like this, or bintun, it's not derived from the root letters or root word. It's just the way we take the word as it is, like a sight word. Whereas masdar, these are words, ones in which other words are derived. So like the example I gave was katbun, nasrun. So from these letters, kataba, over here, nun, sad, and ra, we can derive different, the root has a certain meaning, and we can derive different shades of that meaning depending how we structure the words. And then we have mushtaq, which means ones derived from the masdar. So if we have nasrun, this is the masdar. From this we can derive words like this, which is mushtaq, the derived word mansur. So we can still see the nun, sad, and ra there. So nasrun means, it's the masdar meaning, like the helping, the assistance, the supporting. Mansur means the one helped or assisted or supported. Okay, we can also have like nasir, for example. Nasir meaning the helper or the supporting one. So these are all derived from nasrun, the masdar. So there's some extra terminology for us to learn, and obviously we're going to get into much more detail of these later on as we progress. But it's good to kind of keep that in mind now, since we are talking about the ism. And finally, we have terminology that we've used in this lesson: the ism ishara, demonstrative nouns like hada and dhalika; ism, nouns like rajulun, and adjectives like kabirun; fi'l, verbs like kharaja and yakhruju, and we'll cover these verbs in a few more lessons a bit later. Harfun, particles like min, meaning from, and ila, meaning to; and as-sifa, adjectives, which also fall under the ism category. They're describing words. So that brings us to the end of lesson 1. I'd like you to review your notes, review your exercises, make sure that we're strong in these concepts. And once you are completely comfortable and familiar and strong with what we've gone through in this lesson, feel free to, inshallah, move on to lesson 2, where we'll continue with our next grammatical concept. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.